Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought we would do something a bit more casual, a bit more just relaxed and laid back, and we would go back to kind of our roots of where I really thrived, and that was with tags on BookTube. I used to do tags all the time. I haven't done a tag in a long time, but I figured I would do one that's kind of casual, laid back. We could talk about kind of my reading habits and how I read and fun things like that. So I saw Noelle over at Noelle Gallagher do this tag, and it was about like her chaotic reading habits, and I thought it would be fun to do ones for myself. It just sounds fun, and I'm really excited to tell you guys about how I read my books. So I think these questions actually came from Ariel channel, which I'll also leave down below, but let's go ahead and get started with a reading tag about how I read my books. Also, sorry if you guys can hear the leaf blower. We have lots of things going on outside, but I really wanted to film this, so hopefully the sound isn't too terrible. Got my coffee, I'm ready to go. So the first question on here is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? I am someone who I pretty much can read on the go. I can read in different places around my house, but I do find that my very favorite place to read books is in my bed. My bed is just so comfortable, and I also sometimes have back issues, so having a place where I can prop myself up and have like a stable back is always my goal. And I just love to get comfy, especially in the winter time. I have like a heated blanket. I love to get snugly under there and put on some music, or listen to an audiobook and just relax. But I would definitely say my room is my main place of reading, and in the summer I like to read in the pool and outside, like under my awning, because it's so hot, but I love to be outside. But most of the time it's in my bed. The next question is bookmark or random piece of paper. I have so many bookmarks and I'm always trying to use them, but it doesn't always happen. If I'm using a hardcover book, I normally use the flap of the hardcover dust jacket. I know a lot of people read with the dust jacket off, but I keep it on. I don't mind using a dust jacket while I'm reading my books, so a lot of times I'll use the flaps for that. If I'm in a pinch, I will use a piece of paper. I don't dog ear though, unless it's a book for school. I don't dog ear, just because that's too much for me. I can't dog ear because I don't know. I'm weird about that, because certain things I don't care. Like if I spilled coffee on my book, whatever. But if I dog ear my page, I have an issue, and I don't know what that's about. But I've been trying to use more bookmarks since I have so many, but most of the time it is a flap from the hardcover. If it's a paperback, I'll normally use a bookmark or some like sticky note, or also I have I'll show you. I have tabs like this that I put in my book when I'm annotating, so sometimes I'll even just slide this thick boy inside to keep my page, but most of the time I'm using the flap on a hardcover book. Number 3, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain amount of pages? It depends. So if I'm on the go, running around, like have a chance to read whenever I'm out, I can stop wherever, but I will have to kind of go back and read the paragraphs above. But if I finish like a paragraph on the page, I'm fully content with that and I can handle that. But I do like to get 2 chapters just because that's just the Capricorn in me. I don't know if that's what it is. I like to end on a chapter most of the time, just because that makes me feel really good and like accomplished. I don't know. So that's why I like short chapters, because then if I have to put it down, it's not that big of a stressor. But if I have to, I can stop at the end of a paragraph on a page. Mid-sentence, not really. I kind of have to finish the sentence. Number 4, do you eat or drink while reading? Yes. I definitely am always drinking something. Most of the time it's water or coffee. Occasionally it's like a glass of wine if I'm trying to really wind down and relax at night. And eating is something like, since I'm in my room, I don't eat a ton in my room. I will snack every once in a while, but I'm not really good at, like, if I were gonna sit down for breakfast at my table, I'm not good at like keeping my book in front of me while I'm also eating. My brain can't focus on all of those things at once. So most of the time, if I'm going to be eating, it'll be snacking where I don't really have to pay much attention to what I'm eating. But if I'm using like a fork and knife, no, that's not gonna happen unless it's an audiobook. Number 5, multitasking, music or TV while reading. 100%, I'm a huge stan for listening to music while I read, while I do most of the time read with instrumental music because I get distracted oftentimes with music that has words in it while I'm trying to read. But there is the occasional situation where I have like an album that I have attached to a certain book. For example, I have the Weekend Starboy album attached to Six of Crows so deeply that I listen to that on repeat when I read that series. And so since I know that album so well and it's so connected to that duology, I don't have a hard time with the words and the songs, but most of the time I like to listen to instrumental music, and I'm almost always listening to music if I'm reading. I just don't like to sit in silence, and I like to have things connect back to the books I'm reading, because then if I listen to it a year later, I still have those feelings that I had when I was reading the book, and I love that. But TV, absolutely not. My brain does not work like that. There's too much going on TV when I'm trying to read. I can't handle it. So TV, no. Music, 100%. Most of the time, instrumental. Number 6, one book at a time or several at once. If you asked me this maybe a year ago, I would have definitely said one book at a time. I found myself getting distracted or hard to focus on certain books if I were trying to read multiple at a time. But recently I've really found a liking to reading more than one book at a time, especially if they're different genres or different vibes. And yeah, it's been working out really well. I normally stick to about 2 or 3 books at one time. I don't like to really overwhelm myself and get too crazy because then I will start forgetting things. But 2 or 3 books of different genres has been working out really well. So I have no qualms with reading more than one. But also reading one at a time too is totally cool with me, and I've definitely done that before. Number 7, reading at home or everywhere. Like I said, I will read everywhere, but I definitely would prefer to be at home and in my bed and in my room listening to music and having a candle on. And yeah, I definitely can read on the go. There are more distractions if I'm, if I were on a bus, or if I were, at someone else's house and they're watching TV or playing a game. Like, it can happen, but it's not my ideal situation. Number 8, reading out loud or silently in your head. I read in my head most of the time. Sometimes if I want to know how like a character would say it, I'll say it out loud and like talk to myself and like, imitate what I think they would sound like. I don't know. But generally I read in my head, and yeah, I feel like I try to like see, ooh, would I be a good audiobook narrator? And then I hear myself saying it and it doesn't happen very well. So I most of the time read in my head. We had to do a camera battery switch out, so sorry for that. But question number 9 says, do you read ahead or even skip pages? So I don't if I'm reading for pleasure. I sometimes find myself getting really excited, one, because I want to know what's going to happen, so I start not fully reading certain paragraphs, which is bad, but like sometimes I'm getting too excited and I have to kind of remind myself, no, slow down. It's fine, read what the author's written. And other times, if I don't like the book, my brain will just say, But I do try to read everything, obviously, because that's what you should do. But when it comes to school books, sometimes I would just flip and skim through it, which sounds like a really bad English major, but sometimes before class, if you've got to finish a 50-page section for your class and you have 10 minutes, you gotta do what you gotta do. So most of the time I'm reading it properly and reading every word, but sometimes you gotta do a little bit of a skim. Sorry. Number 10, breaking the spine or keeping it like new. Okay, this is one thing where if I get a book from like a thrift store or from my mom and the spine is broken, it doesn't bother me at all. If it's my book and I'm the only one that's read it, I don't like to break the spine. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling of doing it. If someone else has done it and gives it to me, it doesn't bother me. But breaking it myself, I'm not a big fan of. For school books, doesn't really bother me. But for books that I've gotten like for myself, I don't like to break the spine. I don't know why. It bothers me. So I like to keep it like new, but again, if I spill coffee on it, I don't really mind, but breaking the spine, I guess, is a no-no for me. Who knew? And lastly, before the lawnmower gets too loud, do you write in your books? And yes, occasionally. If I am planning on annotating a book, I will sometimes write in the spines, write little notes, but more often than not, I'm writing on a sticky note and placing it inside, or, you know, adding a little colored tab, and that means something that I'm trying to say with my annotating system, but I will every once in a while, occasionally. Definitely not every book, but you know, if it has to be done, it has to be done, and I'll do it. So yeah, it's definitely an occasional thing, but I don't really have many qualms with having to write in my book. It doesn't bother me as much as breaking the spine does, apparently. So that is gonna be it for the, I guess, reading habits tag. I don't know what it's exactly called, but I had so much fun doing this. I love talking about how I read and thinking about how other people read and, you know, break the spines of books and I don't, or, you know, don't write in their books, but I do. I just find it really interesting. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely like the video and comment down below what your weird reading habit is. If you have any things that you definitely are not afraid to do with your books, and then the opposite side of that, what you will never do to your book, like, I don't know, spilling coffee on it like I do, or breaking the spine, which I don't. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you don't know what else to say, you can also just comment this little, just comment a black heart under the video, so I know that you guys were here. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button so that you guys can get notified whenever I have a new video that comes out. I'm doing really well with my like video schedule, so you guys will see lots of videos from me and I don't want you guys to miss it. So definitely subscribe and hit the bell, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!